Sports Hub, your next update at 9 o'clock.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5, the Sports Hub. This is Sunday Kickoff with Barth and Cerrone Battle. The show that's all Patriots, all football, all year long. The clutch wins, the tough losses, and the game-changing plays. This is the show that has it all covered. Sunday Kickoff, brought to you in part by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. Now, here are Barth and Cerrone Battle.
Welcome into the Week 4 edition of Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff. Barth, Cerrone Battle with you. Ryan Garvin back behind the glass as we get you ready for Patriots and Panthers in the entire Week 4 NFL slate, as what is a sports weekend that is living up to the billing continues. We've had the Ryder Cup. Maybe the Ryder Cup itself hasn't lived up to the billing. We've had the Ryder Cup. Great day of college football yesterday. And now some big-time games, some significant games here on the NFL slate coming up as well, Cerrone.
Yeah, it's been a cool weekend. Red Sox got it kicked off in the right way.
I can't believe I forgot that. And the Red Sox clinched the playoffs. Jeez.
It's a beautiful weekend, and I hope it doesn't end in disappointment with this one this afternoon.
Patriots taking on the Carolina Panthers in a game that I don't know if I want to call it a must-win. Obviously, you don't want to fall to 1-3, and I think the real kicker, if the Patriots were to lose today, you start the season 0-3 at home against three teams that might not make the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's just really not a great start to the Mike Vrabel era. It wouldn't be, talking about the importance of winning at home and taking advantage of bad football. So, again, I'd stop short of calling it a must-win, but I think an important tone-setting game for the Patriots today.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's not about just if they go. I'm trying to say it's how they look in this game. They can still win it, and we still have question marks after this one. If they look a certain way, you know what I'm saying? Like if they go out there and it's a 17-13 game, still got a bunch of turnovers and penalties and all the issues, missed field goals, all the issues that's kind of plagued them over the first three games, we're still going to have – they're going to be 2-2, but we're still going to have major questions about this team. Now, if they go out there and really put it on these guys, then it allows everybody to breathe, and I think the team kind of picks up a little confidence going in the next week. But, I mean, they have to go out there, and I wouldn't say make a statement, but look like a polished football team against a team they absolutely should beat.
Yeah, again, a team that they should beat. We kind of talked about it with the Dolphins a couple weeks ago, Cerrone, that the Patriots were so used to being somebody's get-right game, and now at least they're in the place where they can have, it seems like, get-right games, and this is a get-right game. You lose a tough one last week, obviously 5 turnovers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The irony in that game, as frustrating as it was also sort of promising because outside of the 5 turnovers, and that's a big if, right? Other than that, how was the play sort of thing. But outside of those 5 turnovers, they played really well. They outgained the Steelers by 166 yards. Really good on third down, really good on fourth down. The defense after a rough start was excellent, allowed 1 total yard in the third quarter, went 5 drives in a row without allowing a first down.
Mm-hmm.
And the Steelers aren't a Super Bowl favorite or anything, but that's a solid team. It's a well-coached team. It's a veteran team. You play that way, most of the time you're going to win because you're not going to turn the ball over 5 times every week. And some people might be like, what if they do? They've had turnover problems. Well, then this whole thing is fake and they need to start from the ground up. So one way or the other, we get an answer. But you play that way again against Carolina. You should be. The Steelers are a better team than Carolina. So let's just see if the Patriots can replicate that effort without the turnovers.
Yeah, I think, and I kept tweeting it out during the game. They were better than the Steelers in every way, from
much better
90% of the game. I mean, it was just a much better team. Kept getting in the red zone. You turn it over twice inside the 5. I mean, that's just, you can't do that. I mean, that's the ball game right there. They were the better team. Rodgers had 130 yards passing. I mean, we talked about that before the game last week. It's like Rodgers, in some ways, he's Rodgers. He can make a play here or there, like he did on a couple of touchdown passes. But outside of that, he had 130 yards passing, and you take that every week. And I think they kind of slowed the run game down a little bit enough, but they were in position. They should have won that game multiple times over. They should have blown them out. And I think we'd be looking at this game like, yeah, they got another blowout on the schedule. But now we're just hoping they're not the team that Carolina's circling for as their get-right game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they had a big one last week against a shocking win against the Falcons, the way they played. But I think this Carolina team, I wouldn't say they're happy for what they got last week, but try and catch them slipping a little bit and see if you can blow this team out and get yourself on the right track going in the next week.
How real do you think that game was last week for Carolina? 30-0 win over the Falcons. They forced 3 turnovers. So you have a defense coming in that was turning the ball over pretty well last week. How real was that game?
That was Atlanta shooting themselves in the foot over and over again. It was the 5 turnovers. When they didn't have 5 turnovers, but I think Penix threw a pick 6 from like the 10.
Yeah.
Like it was like little things. It was like crazy stuff. And you look at Carolina, they didn't do anything special offensively. It was just turnovers and just blown coverages and stuff like that. It was just a bad game by the Falcons. And look, Carolina has some individual guys, some playmakers. We're going to get into, Ted the receiver, but I mean, he's special. They have him, but Bryce Young is same Bryce Young he was pretty much last year. He's great one drive and terrible another. You just don't know what you're going to get out of him. But I think that was one of the biggest flukes of the season so far, was that win against. It was not just beating Atlanta; it was how they beat them. 30-0 is just crazy.
Well, and they're even more banged up. Talking about Carolina than they were last week. You talk about the weapons or lack thereof around Bryce Young. No Xavier Legette in this game, starting wide receiver. No Jatavion Sanders, starting tight end. There was a report earlier this morning. Chuba Hubbard is expected to play. He was listed as questionable. Ted McMillan is listed as questionable. So the Panthers are coming off a big win, but you're saying, and I agree with you, a team that just beat a divisional opponent 30-0. Maybe that's not an accurate representation of where the Panthers are.
No, this team got blown out by Jacksonville, and they made sort of a comeback against Arizona and lost that game. And they were giving up 28 a game or something like that until last week. So I mean, they have some individual pieces, they have some singular game records here or there, but as a unit, this team, the Patriots, should beat this team today. If Gonzalez goes or not, we're hearing he is going to go, but I think this Patriots team is better than Carolina Panthers.
You're right, by the way. Allowed 26 in their first game, 27 in their second. Allowed almost 400 yards in the opener, almost 300 yards against the Cardinals before that game last week. So a little bit of a Panthers breakdown there. And look, obviously we're going to talk about the matchup in Patriots-Panthers, but I felt the majority of this week, this is much more of it. The storylines that interest me more in this game, Cerrone, are internally for the Patriots. Yeah. It's not so much matching up with this guy, matching up with that guy. There's a little bit of that with Ted McMillan. There's a little bit of that with Derek Brown, the star defensive tackle for the Panthers. But what does the rotation look like at running back? What does the rotation look like at wide receiver? Christian Gonzalez, what does he do? How much do they use him? Just limiting the turnovers internally. Are we going to see a more conservative Patriots team in reaction to that, or are they just going to keep letting it rip? Because they let it rip last week. And I said before, you're not going to turn the ball over 5 times every game. That's just not a realistic thing. But if they're turning the ball over once or twice per game, but you're kind of getting the output you got last week, big picture, and they're finishing most of those drives with points. Let's say you take the 2 turnovers out on the goal line. So instead of putting up 14, they put up 28. They turn the ball over 3 times instead of 5. 3 turnovers, still not great, and that number is still too high, but it's they probably win the game.
Yeah, you probably blow them out
with 3 turnovers. Yeah. So I just think so much more of this game is I don't want to say that this is almost like a preseason game, because it's not like that. I just think that's unfair to the guys playing, but there are some elements of that. We go into these preseason games talking about who's playing with who's playing in what spot, how do they use different players. Like, I do feel like there's a lot of that going into this game for me with this Patriots team.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And it's, again, trying to, I was on yesterday with them. It's them trying to figure out their identity. Who are we going to be? What type of team we're going to be? What's our rotation really going to look like? Okay, are these the guys we're going to go for the long haul? You heard a lot of conversations amongst fans and a lot of guys in the media just having a conversation. Is it time for the Efton Chisholms and Williams at receiver with Pop Douglas and his struggles? What do you do with Stevenson fumbling the football? Do you play the young kid? Do you play Henderson more? It's still them trying to figure out who is going to be the key guys that are in it for the rest of the season in these positions that we're not going to move. And it does have a preseason feel to where you're rotating guys in or out, trying to find something, trying to find a rhythm. The receiving group, when Stephon Diggs gets really, really ramped up, who's going to be the odd man out when it comes to targets and stuff like that? So I think they're still, I would say, still trying to figure things out, just trying to get an identity for what kind of team they're going to be going forward.
So we'll talk about that throughout the show, potential lineup changes, things like that. You want to join us, 617-779-0985. We'll also go around the league. Again, I'll throw the reminder out. You're trying to set that fantasy lineup. You got anybody from the Steelers or Vikings? 9:30 kick in Ireland this morning, our first international game of the year. We'll go around the league in a little bit. Mark Daniels from Mass Live will join us at the bottom of the hour here. And, of course, more Patriots-Panthers talk, plus your calls, 617-779-0985. It's Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on the Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
More Sunday Kickoff is on the way on the Sports Hub.
reps. I think he's continued to get into better condition, and we'll see how he responds from today, from the speed work today, and then we'll go and make a decision that is best for him and best for the football team.
Back here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff, that was Mike Vrabel on Christian Gonzalez during the week. The reporting since is Gonzalez is expected to make his return today. Boy, they could use him, because if you take away Ted McMillan in this game, there's not much else the Panthers have. Down their starting tight end, starting running backs banged up. They're down their second receiver in Xavier Legette. Adam Thielen missed a day of practice this week. Like, they're all kinds of banged up offensively. Do you think Christian Gonzalez steps right in Cerrone and can step back into that player he was last year, shutdown corner? Do you think we see any rust from him today?
I think he's going to look good. I think he's going to be pretty solid, pretty sharp. And I think the respect is going to be high. I don't see Carolina challenging him. Let's see if he has it, if he still has it, and find themselves getting burnt. Because, we're getting on Drake May for his turnovers, whatever. I think Bryce Young is, 4-4 or 3-3 or something like that. 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions or something along those lines. He's turned it over a few times. And, with the receivers being banged up, I don't see him challenging Gonzalez and really testing and seeing how banged up he is, or see if he's gimpy or a step slow, because you don't want to get burnt. A turnover here. Not saying Gonzalez gets a pick six or anything like that, but I think the respect will be high, and I think they'll stay away from him. I think you can see a lot of action going else with Hunter Renfrow underneath, and a lot of running game out of these guys. And I think they're just going to try and hold on and try and force the Patriots into mistakes to keep the score low. But I don't see them really testing Gonzalez. I absolutely would not with this. I don't think Carolina's in position to do it, to test out a player like that. Because if he's 100%, you're in trouble, and you can be sending one the wrong way. So I don't think they're going to test him. I think they're going to stay away from him most of the game. I
would test him once early just to see where he's at. Guy that hasn't – he's only practiced 2 weeks. That's it, since that injury. So I would test him early if I'm Carolina, but I wouldn't, be overly eager to do it. One time, if he looks good, all right, cool. He's locked in. I'd leave him alone.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, because I'm going to take some of these calls. So
I was going to say real quick, and the way I would test him early, I'm throwing a screen his way, receiver screen.
Yeah, make him
see if
tackle.
he can tackle or something. Run his way, toss sweep to his side. See if he can tackle or see if he's ready for to take a beating, in the tackling game, as opposed to trying to cover somebody in the open.
All right, let's grab some of these calls. Randy in Providence. Randy.
Oh shit.
Randy, what's up?
Hi, how's it going this morning?
Hey.
So I think the Patriots are set up for a good spot here for a nice little comeback win. I don't really buy into the Panthers' win last week. I think that was a lot about Atlanta, and for whatever reason too, Bryce he's got 7 wins in his career, 3 of them versus Atlanta. But he wasn't particularly good last week. He had a 48.8 rating, something like 130 yards, 4 yards per attempt or something. He's not particularly good. I think you're right. You take away Ted McMillan, and I think this is a great receiver for Gonzalez to come back against too, because Ted McMillan is not particularly fast. He's not particularly twitchy or jitterbug type. So he's not really going to put a lot of strain on that ACL as if he had come back versus Tyreek and Jalen Waddle or guys like that. And I think that the interior of that Carolina offensive line is weak. I think it's a good setup for our defense, because that's kind of where our strength is. I think we should be able to get home versus Bryce, or at least get him on the move with just 4 guys on the line, and be able to worry about coverage otherwise. So I think this is a really good game for the Patriots, and I'm excited to see it today.
All right, thanks for the call, Randy. Let's go to Tony in Canada. Tony.
Hey, guys. I'm thinking we're going to have probably some changes in the running back position in terms of who gets more reps. But do you guys think maybe we should consider doing something similar in their wide receiver position, like with Pop Douglas? He seems to be struggling. Can we use Steph Diggs a different way, and maybe can we bring in Kyle Williams and Chisholm And do you guys think shaking up the wide receiver positions will make a difference? And that's the question I wanted to ask, so I'll just listen to you guys.
Thanks for the call, Tony. Yeah, I think that there's a real strong argument to be made for that. And I wrote about this week on 985thesportshub.com. I've been as big a defender of Pop Douglas as anybody, but him and Drake May just don't seem to be on the same page right now.
Yeah.
So if you move Diggs into the slot and you put Kyle Williams at the Z, you still have a speed element. You still have a yards after the catch element. You also just get Kyle Williams on the field, which I think is important. And it might actually create a higher volume role for Steph Diggs as well. I would not hate seeing something like that. I will say this. I've seen a ton of people asking about Efton Chisholm this week. I do think Efton Chisholm should and eventually will have a role in this offense.
Mm-hmm.
Not yet. Maybe a little bit more today. Maybe he's active today, but like you have to give Kyle Williams a chance first. Because, one, I think he gives you a more dynamic element offensively. The Patriots are facing more loaded boxes than any team in the NFL. You need somebody with speed who can get vertical, who can force teams to stay honest over the top. And I think Kyle Williams might just be a little further along with Drake May. Now, he didn't work a ton with May in the summer, but he did a little bit. Chisholm really didn't. Remember, we talked about this a lot, that Chisholm, even though he made the team, never truly repped with the starting offense, and that's a chemistry-heavy position because, like I said, with Williams moving Diggs inside, putting Kyle Williams at the Z, if it's Efton Chisholm, he's going right in the slot. That's a chemistry-heavy position. The fact he hasn't worked a ton with Drake May, I think there may be more of a build-up there.
Yeah, and it's not – I know a lot of fans see the shiftiness of Chisholm, the playmaking in the preseason games and stuff like that. And it's like the question isn't his hands or his ability to get free. It's all about the mental aspects of the game. If they're facing a zone or whatever, I'm expecting him to do this, and he does that. It's timing. It's rhythm. It's the same thing we're seeing with Pop Douglas right now. The ball's kind of going behind him. He's stopping. You're expecting him to keep going. It's a timing and rhythm thing with May and Chisholm. I think they're going to get there, and I think one way of doing it, you got to take teams like today and get up 30-0 on them. Now you get a chance to throw Chisholm out there in some situation. Now you get some game reps. And I think that's the way you get a lot of guys playing time. You blow teams out, you get guys on the field. But I think you're absolutely right when it comes to Kyle Williams. I think one thing missing from this Patriots offense the first 3 weeks is they haven't had any downfield threats at all. I haven't seen them really take a shot. Just let Drake May drop back there and just let it fly 50 yards to somebody, even if he's double teamed. I haven't even seen them attempt that this season. And I think Kyle Williams is the one guy for sure that has the wheels to get downfield fast enough and make a play. Keyshawn Boutte kind of had some of those plays last year, but I want to see them stretch the field where you can get defenses to kind of be honest. And I think Efton Chisholm, as good as he could be, I think he's
different kind of player.
Different kind of player, but he's more of the same as Stephon Diggs and Pop Douglas. So you're going to have three guys doing the same thing where the guy you really need is somebody who can get downfield and who can make somebody miss, and it could be all she wrote. So I think Williams is the one you got to get going first. But Chisholm's day is going to come. Absolutely going to get his day on the field.
Even if Douglas does play today, I'd still like to see them send him more vertically. Whoever's in that role, I think send that guy a little bit more vertically, and it will help this offense out. Let's go to Andy in Sudbury. Andy.
Hey, Alex. How you doing today?
Good.
Good. So I actually have a fantasy question for you guys for the upcoming game, and that is, do I play Aaron Rodgers or Marcus Mariota at the Superflex?
Oh, man.
All right.
That's a good one.
Who are the Commanders playing? I have it right here. Commanders playing the Falcons. Rodgers playing the Vikings. Without Jaylen Warren. I don't know. This is not really much of a fantasy show. I'll be honest. It's not my area of expertise.
Wasn't Rodgers already complaining that they couldn't fly out when he wanted to fly out too?
Yeah.
There's your answer.
He's already in his head.
He's already, maybe Mariota.
The Vikings defense is ridiculous.
That's true. Yeah, I guess Mariota.
Yeah, we just saw Rodgers last week, though, for 130. So
thanks, guys. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. You just said you were taking fantasy calls today. I know you sometimes do, so thank you so much.
No problem. Have a good one, Andy. I mean,
I don't think I'll ever take Rodgers again in fantasy till he retires.
It's not a fantasy show anymore, so I'll say don't blame us if it goes wrong. I would not endorse my own fantasy advice. But Yeah, you're right. Against that Vikings defense, he's
thanks.
annoyed that he has to go all the way over there. It's a low total, too. 41 in that game.
Yeah, Rodgers at that age, at this stage of his career, he's not explosive against that defense what they about to play in 20 minutes. No, thank you.
Or no, an hour, 9:30 kick.
Oh, there you go now. Yeah, he's not. No,
So I actually had a buddy text me that he needed the update to check his fantasy lineup with the morning game. It's crazy how much people forget about these. Did you see Goodell said this week that there was a report? I don't know if Goodell said it outright, but there was a report that they want to try to make this like a weekly time slot and sell it as a primetime game, essentially, as a standalone game. Out, couldn't be more out. And he was out there this morning. What is it with these commissioners? I don't want to be like old man yells at cloud here, but Goodell goes out this morning, says it's going to be a global game. And look, the game being global is obviously good for the league. I don't know if that means you need to play an international game every week.
Yeah, isn't it on TV around the world?
Right. And then you had Adam Silver yesterday talking about like NBA teams playing European teams in the playoffs. Right? Or did you see that? Or am I?
It's ridiculous.
Like I get it's a business and you need to globalize the brand and all of that. You also can't get it to the point where it's just unwatchable. Like at the end of the day, you can't alienate your base fans.
Yeah, because like if I'm in California right now, why would I want to watch a game at 6 a.m.?
Well, that's the other thing. If every team is going to play internationally, because I think that was the idea. You're going to have 16, if they go to 18 weeks, you won't have 1 week 1, you won't have 1 week 18. Every other week would have an international game, kind of like they do Thursday Night Football. But if you look at the history of the international games, right, it's so heavily skews towards the East Coast teams because you can't have the Chargers go over to London and play 6 a.m. local time in L.A. So that's where you maybe get the Brazil games, the Mexico City games come in.
Oh, true. Yeah, that's the way they'll keep that line. They should keep it lined up like if you're going to do that. Yeah.
Ironically, where the sport is kind of popular is Australia, but that time difference is
that's crazy.
A nightmare.
They
had played UFC already
in Perth. It's local time out there. It's like 7 a.m. It would be really, really tough to get guys to go to those games.
And there's still Canada, by the way. I know that people don't really think of that. So, I don't know, do you have the Seahawks go play in Vancouver? Does that count as their international game? Might be a little bit of a competitive advantage as opposed to a team having to go all the way to, Europe. But, yeah.
I think stuff like that would be more realistic. Like have the Bills play in Montreal. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Where it's not really a Toronto or something like that. To where it's not that far for them to go. You know what I'm saying? But,
although, not to go too far down the rabbit hole, the Canadian fans are very upset with the NFL right now because their league just changed some of its really traditional rules to match up more
the NFL.
With the NFL. No more 20-yard end zone, goalpost going to the back of the end zone, no more 55-yard line.
I like that they leave the goalpost right there.
I know, it's a bummer.
It's insane.
But they made I don't know how happy the Canadian fans are at the NFL right now. But look, a couple of these a year, 5, 6 of these a year. This is a little early in the year, too, like middle of the season, week like 5 to 12. Yeah, you want to have a handful of these games over there. You want to throw a game down in Brazil. I don't think it's the worst idea in the world. There's definitely some benefits to it. I don't know that you need to have it every week in every team. I think that might be a bit much. I'll add, too, I don't know if you saw this. Tom Pelissero reported this like half an hour ago. Skylar Thompson, who's there with the Steelers, he's on injured reserve, but he's there, got, quote, jumped and robbed Friday night in Dublin. God. Thompson, who's on injured reserve, suffered minor injuries but is okay and with the team.
Yeah, no.
The players hate this. And I don't know what the next CBA between wanting to go to 18. You try to get them to go to 18 games and one international game a year. I don't know what the NFL is going to give up. They're going to have to give up something significant to get that. It won't be money because the NFL is not giving up money. All right, we're running long here. I don't want to keep Mark Daniels waiting too much because he will join us coming up next to give us a little more of a breakdown here on the Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
More Sunday Kickoff coming up on the Sports Hub. absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps or at 985sportshub.com.
He begins the approach with a run-up and a swing right leg.
Every football game starts with the kickoff. This is Sunday Kickoff with Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on your home for Patriots football. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Back here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff, Alex Barth, Cerrone Battle. We're now joined by Mark Daniels. He covers Patriots for Mass Live. Mark, good morning.
Hey, what's up, guys? Good morning.
Before we get to the matchup today, I'll just ask you this. We were just talking about the NFL wanting to expand its international slate, potentially, an international game for every team every year. How have you felt about covering the international games, and do you think that that's something, when it gets to the CBA, how big of a fight do you think that might be with the players?
It's interesting because I think it takes kind of a toll on everyone. You're like, for the Patriots, they're flying in sort of midweek. You're changing your surroundings. The time change is crazy. Just for a media member, I remember flying in. I had a 6:00 flight from Boston to London, and then by the time we landed, I had to be at the practice field in 2 hours. I didn't really sleep, and for me, it was a stark contrast. Even Germany, Frankfurt, I was never caught up with sleep, and I was there for 4 days. I was still up at 3 a.m. one night. I'm I feel like I'm awake, but I'm oh yeah, back home it's 9 o'clock at night. So yeah, it takes a toll, especially when you're talking about football and injuries and all that stuff. So yeah, players are gonna have to figure out what's the best for them. I mean, it's a really cool experience, but the Pats were practicing in London at a place where a school where Harry Potter was filmed. So it was kind of cool, but also that's not exactly the NFL amenities either, right? It had a high school scoreboard and stuff. So cool, but I do think it kind of takes a toll on their body just with the time change.
Yeah, a question I have for you with this one is with this week, with this Patriots team, how can they take advantage of the weaknesses of the Carolina Panthers? I mean, how can they really expose this team for what they really are? I don't think the Panthers are a really good team at all. That 30-0 win last week is kind of out of the blue. But where do you see them really attacking and taking advantage of this Panthers team?
How about this? I mean, I think the Patriots are just a better team. And I don't remember the last time I really felt like that on top to bottom with the roster with the Pats. It's been a while, but the Panthers have one sack in 3 weeks. They have Tate McMillan, and after him, they don't have a single receiver with 100 yards. Their leading running back, Chuba Hubbard's averaging 3.9 yards per carry, and I think Bryce Young's pretty underwhelming. I mean, I think you have a clear advantage at quarterback. I think you have a better defense. You have a better pass rush. You're getting Christian Gonzalez back. I think you have a better team. So I think can you play clean? Can you not turn over the ball and not commit a million penalties? I mean, the Pats are tied for second or something. I think they're the top 5 most penalized teams right now. They're tied for second in turnovers, but you know what? The Panthers are also tied for second in turnovers. So you're playing a team that I don't think they're as good as their 30-0 win over Atlanta last year. But if you can just play a disciplined football game, I mean, I think you should definitely win this.
Along those lines, you talked about how limited the Panthers are offensively, and if you can take away McMillan, it really handcuffs what they can do. I think that'd be Christian Gonzalez if he plays, right? So what have you heard on Gonzalez and his availability today? And if he plays, what are you expecting from him?
Well, you better play. You know what? Today, it's actually 2 months, Alex, to the date where he got injured, right? It was July 28th, and now it's September 28th. It's been I just looked it up. It's been 62 days, 2 months. That guy's got to be ready, right? And, it's been 2 weeks of practice. He's been limited. He hasn't done full pads, but I guess the Pats no longer do full pads. They just wear the top one now. I mean, you got to be out there. It's time. You're at the point where, if he doesn't play, the whole question becomes, why didn't you just IR him? But yeah, I understand he'll be back today. Maybe it's not 100% of the snaps, but he should make an impact for you. I would argue he's the most talented player you have on your roster. I mean, between him and Drake, but I mean, considering he was a second team All-Pro last year, I'll give it to Gonzalez until Drake proves that. But yeah, he should be out there. He should help. It's been exactly 2 months. That's a long time, but I actually don't mind how the Pats handle this. Hamstring injuries are finicky. You need to just make sure that he's healthy so he doesn't have a setback. But I think it's a good game for him to come back, because if he doesn't, if I'll say this, if Ted McMillan doesn't go off, there's no one else on the Panthers who have. In fact, their second leading receiver is Tavion Sanders, the tight end, and I think he's out already. So after that, it's like Hunter Renfrow, 65 yards. So yeah, have him lock down Tate McMillan. Spend 2 months. Let's see what he can do.
This Panthers team, they allow 5.5 yards on the ground per carry. We understand the issues with Stevens last week. Ironically, is he the best weapon against this Carolinas team this week? Is somebody that can run between the tackles and get heavy production? Do you trust him? Or do you trust them to stick with the run this week, even after what we saw last week from the Patriots running backs?
Well, they have to establish the run, and Mike Vrabel says there'll be no punishment or discipline, whatever he wants to call it. Yes, they have to stick with the run in some form or fashion. I just think it remains to be seen who the starting running back is. I mean, Alex, you remember Wednesday's practice, Travion Henderson was the first running back up in one of the drills we saw, and it was him, then Antonio Gibson, then Ramondre Stevenson. So although Mike Vrabel says no discipline, I'm like, well, what I saw in practice says something else, Ramondre will be active today, it sounds like. I think, though, maybe we see more of a split between all three of them. It wouldn't shock me if someone else starts. So I don't know. I think you fumbled twice. I personally don't believe you deserve to start, but obviously you can't abandon the run, and they don't have a lot of depth there. I think it's interesting to think about it. Going in from the summer, I'm like, they have fine depth. Stevenson, Gibson, Henderson. But I need to find someone who's efficient. I need to find someone who can hold on to the ball. The thing about Travion, I didn't realize this. He has the second most touches on the team. He just hasn't been overly efficient. He's averaging 3.4 yards per carry. So I do wonder if this is a game where you can get the rookie running back going and he can be a little bit more efficient on the ground. Some of his best plays have been maybe out of the backfield, or the 4th and 1 play in week 1 where he gained 10, 15 yards. So yeah, stick with the run. But I think we'll see how much Ramondre plays, or what his role is.
Along those lines, we're talking to Mark Daniels of Mass Live at wide receiver. Mike Vrabel was asked about both rookies this week, if they could see more time. Sounded a little more, I don't know if optimistic is the right word, but spoke a little more about Kyle Williams. It sounded like was a little more reserved when he was asked about Efton Chisholm maybe getting some playing time. Yeah. Pop Douglas struggling. The wide receivers struggling as a whole. I mean, 4 of their top 6 pass catchers right now are running backs and tight ends. Do you think we see a shakeup at wide receiver, and do you think we see either of those rookies or both get more involved?
So I know Efton Chisholm was still on scout team this week. He was simulating Hunter Renfrow, kind of perfect there. Alex, honestly, I hope so. You need more out of this group. Stephon Diggs' contract calls for over $22 million in guarantees. If I'm the Patriots, I try Stephon Diggs in the slot and maybe even try Kyle Williams outside opposite of Kayshon Boutte. But the name I just mentioned, Kayshon Boutte, is someone I really believe deserves more. I mean, he's only been targeted 12 times in 3 games. 3 times last week, 1 time in week 2, and it's an amazing touchdown catch. Kayshon Boutte, he's averaging 16.3 yards per catch. He's actually 10th in the NFL. I actually think he deserves more targets. And so when I look at this receiver lineup, I think Stephon Diggs should play more. I think he should receive more targets. I mean, Diggs has caught 13 out of 15 balls thrown his way. And I would like to see Kyle Williams a little bit more. It's just, it's been an underwhelming group. And I think, unfortunately, it's been it's like the same story, every year, right? Over the last couple of all right, is anyone going to emerge as a number one? Does Diggs even have that? Is he just a possession receiver? But I hope in this game, we see a little bit more targets for someone like Kayshon Boutte, for Stephon Diggs. And it would be nice to see Kyle Williams out there. Unfortunately, I don't think it's Efton Chisholm time yet, but we'll see. Sometimes with Mike Vrabel, we don't he gives us an answer, but we don't really get the answer until Sunday.
Yeah, and last one for me, along the same lines with the receivers, do you think it's not so much because of the receivers? Do you think the play calling is being kind of conservative with Drake May? You think they're still kind of protecting him with the play calling and not allowing him to take shots or challenge guys on the outside? It's a lot of tight end and underneath stuff. And do you think it's the play calling kind of protecting Drake May?
In a way, I think they're taking what the defense gives them. The last couple of weeks, it's been very clear that they've had an advantage with tight ends, especially over the middle. I mean, we started in Miami with Austin Hooper and some of those drag routes, but I think Josh McDaniels is the type of OC where he's like, all right, if throwing to the running back gives us the best advantage, that's what we're going to do. So he's not necessarily game planning for all right, we're just going to give Stephon Diggs 8 targets today. It's going to be like, oh, I see something on the defense, and we're going to expose him with Hunter Henry, like, and up in the seam. I think it's more reflective of that, trying to take what the defense gives you. I think Josh has said, like, oh, we're a game plan offense. We kind of saw that. Like, I mean, week 1 and week 2 was such a stark comparison what they did. It was like week 1 felt to me like the older Brady offense. Week 2 felt more like a West Coast type scheme. So I think they're sort of mixing and matching based off defensive scheme, and unfortunately for the receivers, that isn't always great for them.
Kind of along those lines, Mark, we're talking to Mark Daniels from Mass Live. We've seen them be kind of reactionary to some of the elite defensive front players they faced, whether it's not running towards Max Crosby or TJ Watt or shading help certain ways. They're going to get their first real elite interior player. Like, they faced a lot of these edge guys, but interior player in Derek Brown. They have to go at this without their starting left guard, Jared Wilson. He's out. We think it's going to be Ben Brown who steps in. How much do you think that impacts what they ultimately do offensively? And do you think how big of an impact is it not having Jared Wilson in this game?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the drop-off is between Jared Wilson and Ben Brown. I thought, they were kind of similar to me a lot of the times this summer, and obviously Jared Wilson won out. But I don't think Ben Brown's terrible. I think, if anything, Ben Brown might be a better pass blocker, but might not be as good as a run blocker as Jared Wilson. And the question with Derek Brown is like, all right, do you avoid him? Are you running more so outside? Are you trying more zone runs, trying to get outside the numbers? If that's the case, then TreVeyon Henderson would probably be better. Try to get him on the outside edge and go up the sideline. This is so the Pats had the same starting offensive line to start the season, 3 games in a row, and guys, that didn't happen last year until like week 8. The Pats had no continuity on the offensive line last year, and I thought that's why the group really struggled. So this is sort of like the first test, right? All right, you're going to actually have a different lineup. Will Campbell, your starting left tackle, is going to have a different guy next to him for the first time. How does he look? So yeah, you're going to have to watch out for Ben Brown, but also I do wonder what it does for Will Campbell to have a guy who's different next to him, because I've heard in the past, like, sometimes these younger guys, they get used to who's next to them and they can struggle a little bit when there's another guy in there.
He is Mark Daniels, covers the Patriots for Mass Live. You can find him on social media at @ByMarkDaniels. Mark, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Awesome, guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks again to Mark. Again, you can check him out at Mass Live. We're going to hit a break. We'll come back, take some of your calls, get more into this matchup, Patriots-Panthers, here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
Stay tuned for more Sunday Kickoff on the Sports Hub.
Hey. Well, you can see the elusiveness, the electricity in his game. 10, huge play on third down.
Millen thought in a sec. We did just talk to Mark Daniels about Ramondre Stevenson, what we're going to see at the running back position today. Moses in Swansea is a thought on that. Moses, good morning.
Yeah, okay. I got what they should do with Ramondre Stevenson, because you look at Ramondre, he's a big guy. When he hits people when he's running with the ball, they feel it too. I would take Ramondre, I would put him on the kicking team, and I would put him on the punting team, and I would tell him, you don't get the ball back until you get the ball back. And he turns into a ball-hawking machine and turns his career around and turns this year around for this team. And thanks.
Thanks for the call, Moses. Ramondre on kick coverage. There's
an expensive special teamer.
I mean, well, I already have Kyle Duggar, I think, out there a little bit. It's a little different initiating contact as a running back than it is a coverage player. But look, if he can't get on the field regularly, he is maybe going to need to start playing in the kicking game. I wonder if maybe they have him return kicks, but I guess with the ball security issue.
Fumbling issue still.
Yeah, the issue still stands there. I've said at least if he's going to play, and this is essentially what they did with him last year or last week after the second fumble, just let him pass block because ball security doesn't come up there. And he's been good at that. So the reason we came back with Ted McMillan, I just want to kind of, it's not entirely closing the loop, I guess, but we spent a lot of this spring talking about tackle or receiver. What's the best way to help a young quarterback, and what should the plan be? And obviously the Patriots ended up going with Will Campbell. He's been solid. McMillan's been solid. Looking at them both through 4 games, Cerrone, as they kind of match up this week. Any buyer's remorse? You wishing the Patriots went the other way, or are you feeling good about Will Campbell?
I'm feeling really good about Will Campbell. I can't imagine what this operation would look like if they didn't get addressed left tackle and it just added a receiver. I mean, what would Drake May, the running game, what would any of this look like if they didn't have the protection at quarterback? I mean, Will Campbell, you're not even mentioning his name all week because he's not allowing guys to get near Drake May. So I think they absolutely hit on that one, and they were right to do so. McMillan could turn out to be a Pro Bowl receiver, but I think that left tackle is still more important right now.
I'm with you on that. I think that was a need they needed to fill. He's been good. Last week, didn't quite live up to his first 2 performances, but he's been solid. And the line as a whole struggled last week, although they had 7 games with a higher pressure rate last year than they did last week. So as rough as last week maybe felt at times,
it wasn't as bad as last year.
Average performance by last year's offensive line. So will be an interesting test today. First change. And look, it's good that they're not moving pieces as much as they were last year. That's obviously an encouraging sign. It's insanely unrealistic to think you're going to play with the same 5 guys all 17 games. It doesn't happen in the modern NFL. They're going to face this challenge eventually. I think they are better suited. They had more depth on the interior than if they'd say lost a tackle. So there is that element of it, but that will be something to watch today as well. Campbell's going to be next to Ben Brown. We think it's going to be Ben Brown for the first time. So
that's the real adjustment, is him playing with somebody else. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I say I think that's the big question mark is Campbell having somebody different next to him and the communication and all that stuff. But I think they're going to hold up pretty well today.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be one to watch. Derek Brown's the one guy that worries me. The rest of that front, not as much. So the fact they can focus extra attention towards him, we're like last week, okay, we're shading towards TJ Watt. Now you have Hayward and Herbig coming off the other side. You don't have to worry about that as much last week. Okay, let's get a quick check of the headlines. Come back, we'll go around the NFL. It's Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
From the Telstra Tire Studios, WBC FM and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.5, the Sports Hub. Paisley Media Group Station. Essential Sports Hub headline, presented by Celsius Energy Drinks.
The Patriots trying to get back to 500 today when they host the Carolina Panthers at Gillette Stadium. Coverage all day on 98.5 The Sports Hub and the Patriots Radio Network, starting with Patriots pregame at 10 o'clock. According to Diane Rossini of The Athletic, cornerback Christian Gonzalez is expected to make his return in this game. Gonzalez has been out since the start of training camp due to a hamstring injury. Elsewhere in the NFL, I'll say it one more time, fantasy football reminder, there is an international game today. You got half an hour to set that lineup before the Vikings take on the Steelers in Ireland Big game in the 1 o'clock window, NFC playoff hopefuls, the Eagles and the Bucks in a matchup of unbeaten teams. In the 4 o'clock window, big matchup in the AFC, although both these teams 1-2 right now. The Ravens and the Chiefs square off. And then tonight, Micah Parsons returned to Dallas as the Packers visit the Cowboys. And in a wild day of college football yesterday, number 17 Alabama goes on the road, beats number 5 ranked Georgia 24-21. Number 6 ranked Oregon goes on the road to the whiteout at Penn State, beats the 3rd ranked Nittany Lions 30-24. And number 23 Illinois, they took care of business at home. They beat number 21 USC 34-32. The Red Sox lost 2-1 yesterday against the Detroit Tigers. They'll play their regular season finale today. Sox, of course, have clinched the playoffs, but there are still some seeding implications on the line. It's a 3 o'clock first pitch from Fenway and around Major League Baseball for Game 162. The New England Revolution beat Atlanta United yesterday 2-0, both goals coming after the 70th minute for the Revs. And the Boston Bruins got 2 goals from Dalton Bancroft in a 4-3 win over the Flyers in their 3rd game of the preseason. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Veterinary Urgent Care Center. With 8 locations in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, VUCC offers compassionate, convenient, and high-quality care 7 days a week. Walk in or book an appointment at veturgentcare.com. Veterinary Urgent Care Center. Urgent care for your pet's urgent needs. I'm Alex Barth on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update during Patriots pregame.
This is what happens when analysts take over the game, take over the sport.
This is where you talk sports.
It happens all the time.
The Sports Hub.
Pick a target.
You pick it.
Take your pick.
Pick me. Pick me.
I did not pick. There was no pick.
Pick him up. You pick him up.
Pick.
I pick.
Pick me, pick me, pick me.
Take the teams.
Pick one, jerk.
Full week 4 slate, no buys yet. Let's get to it. Alex Barth, Cerrone Battle, and Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff. Ryan Garvin behind the glass. Ryan, get those cuts queued up, because here we go. We'll start on Thursday night with the Seahawks and the Cardinals.
So it feels like the Cardinals were like, hey, this is actually the Call of Duty clause here.
Kyler, some flashes in that game. Seahawks ultimately win 23-20. Here's my big thing, Cerrone. People are blaming the new kickoff rule. The new kickoff rule is good. They have saved that play. It is a real football play. There's strategy with it. Mm-hmm. You're going to hear a lot about the dirty kick or the dirty ball today. The Panthers are kind of the class of the league at this. It's essentially a knuckleball kickoff that makes it tougher for returners to field the ball, and Panthers have the lowest opposing starting field position on kickoffs. But it's not an easy thing to execute, and when you see these kicks come up short of the landing zone, it can be the dirty ball. That's what happened with the Patriots against Miami on that late kickoff 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it adds another wrinkle to it in strategy. You don't have to do that.
Right. Just don't do the dirty kick when you got to run a minute and a half a clock. Just trust or kick it into the end zone, or trust your team that they can stop a return before the 35-yard line. The rule's fine. Do not blame the rule, please, because the league will react to it and kill the kickoff. So don't be short-sighted. The rule is fine. Teams need to stop doing the dirty kick in that situation. I think what the answer is, in the offseason, you either move the landing zone up to the 25 so that there's a little more room to try that dirty kick and you don't get that costly penalty, or you move it back to the 15 to just discourage the dirty kick more. But I'd like to see the dirty kick continue, but just strategically don't do it in those big spots.
Yeah, it's another strategy to the game. It's another element to it that I love. And if you can't handle it or don't understand the rule, that's on you as a team and coach and your special team staff. But I dig it, and I love the fact that the return game is a huge part of football again. It should be.
Yeah. What'd you think of those Panthers rivalry jerseys too? By the way, I almost said City Connect.
They're all right. I mean, they're cool. I mean, none of these things are really just standing out right now. So we'll see when the new round of these uniforms come out, when the Patriots play the Bills and that whole week. I mean, it's going to be pretty wild to see.
We'll see the Bills one next week, but I thought it was one of the better ones going in. It was solid. I could have done without like the desert. It almost looked like a tortilla, that kind of pattern.
Yeah, it looked like grease stains on the uniform.
Right.
My daughter was like, what's that on that jersey?
If it just been like the tan, because the helmet was great, the end zones were sick with the flag and all that. decent start for the Rivalry program. We'll see how the Bills follow up next week. All right, let's get to today. Kicking off in 25 minutes, the 2-1 Vikings and the 2-1 Steelers.
I'm saying, how's Pittsburgh work? Am I constantly going in and out of Pittsburgh throughout the day? Yes or no?
No. Great scene. Good pull. Good pull, Ryan Garvin. The Vikings, 2.5-point favorites in this one. Lowest total of the week, 41 points over there in
Vikings. I got the Vikings because of that defense. I think they take full advantage of the Steelers, and I don't expect them to fumble it 5 times next week for the Steelers. This week for the Steelers to get a W. Give me the Vikings in this one.
I got the Vikings as well. Into the 1 o'clock slate, Commanders and Falcons.
This is ludicrous.
Yeah. Oh, you don't tell Ludacris what's ludicrous. Ludacris tells you what's ludicrous.
Okay.
Oh, that is ludicrous.
You going to go to that 9 a.m. Ludacris concert in Chapel
I
Hill
am
next
not.
Are you going to go to the game?
No, I'm not going to that. I'm trying to get to a game this year, but I'm not going to go to that one. I think Clemson, even though they're in bad shape, I think Clemson blows these dudes out.
Oh, I'd love to see Bill stick it to Dabo.
That'd be great, though.
That would be worth the price of admission. Back to this game, though. 2-1 Commanders, 1-2 Falcons. Commanders with Marcus Mariota, no Jaden Daniels, still 1.5-point favorites on the road.
Yeah, Atlanta, I'm not sure what to expect from them. I still think they have explosive talent. And I'm wondering, would Mariota struggle a little bit in Atlanta? And Atlanta a little fired up after what happened to Carolina last week. So I'm going to take Atlanta, but in a close one, like 23-20.
I'm with you. I think we get a bounce back from the Falcons in this one. The 0-3 Saints and 3-0 Bills.
We are what our record says we are, as they say.
At the 50-yard line, you are trespassing. Get off the field.
You know, get opportunities to win the game.
Is on its way.
Opportunities to win the game.
Outstanding. This is a real NFL spread I'm about to give you. This looks more like a college spread. The Buffalo Bills at home against the Saints are favored by, should have had you cue up a drum roll, Ryan, 15.5 points in an NFL game. You taking 15 points in an NFL game, Cerrone?
Yes, absolutely. Saints, I don't think the Saints are trying to win any football games. And you're taking a dome team and sending them up outside in Buffalo. I understand it's not winter yet, but whatever it is in Buffalo right now is far worse than whatever it was in Louisiana yesterday. So give me Buffalo, and they're going to cover that 15.
It's supposed to be 76 and sunny. It's actually a beautiful day in Buffalo today.
That's okay. Yeah, they still cover 15.
I'm always in. Anytime you get over double digits in the NFL, I usually go with the underdog to cover, not necessarily to win, but to cover. Because, what is it, like 70, 80-some% of NFL games are decided by one score? This one's probably blowout. This one might be over 10 minutes in. Give me the Bills to cover 15.5. Let's go to the Browns and the Lions.
Here comes Jared Allen, and he's out of bounds. Poor guy, I don't even know if he realized it.
This is actually another double-digit spread. It's the only other one this week. The 1-2 Browns, 10.5-point underdogs, the 2-1 Lions.
I mean, it's the Browns play good defense. They do play D. They're pretty solid defensively, but I don't think they keep up. I think the Lions eventually kind of break out in this one, and Detroit wins this one by double digits.
I'm good. So I just said I kind of have that rule. Usually with the double-digit spreads, I go to the underdog. Browns beat the Packers last week, maybe feeling themselves a little bit. Lions, they've played some close games this year. Give me the Browns to cover. Lions win this game, but I think it's closer than people think. I'm going to take the Browns to cover this one, and I think I've now picked the Browns twice this year, which is a little surprising to me. How about a couple of beatens or winless teams, the Titans and the Texans?
JJ Wow. Little JJ Wow. That's what we used to call him.
There it is. Did you check the show out, Ryan?
No, I'm aware of this show, but I got to sit down and watch Tires.
I was tired. Shane Gillis, JJ Wow. Texans 7.5-point favorites at home. Winner gets their first win of the year.
Texans better win this game. You might be talking about someone losing their job if they don't. I'm going to take the Texans, but they absolutely got to win this game.
Who's the somebody, D'Amico Ryans or C.J. Stroud?
Oh, quarterback's going to be the longer than the head coach. I mean, it's D'Amico is going to be the hot seat. They're going to pour in the gasoline on the hot seat if they lose this game to the Titans.
C.J. Stroud has not been good, though. He has struggled. All right, Patriots, Panthers. We'll get back to that in a minute. I'll tell you the Patriots are 5.5-point favorites. How about the Chargers and the Giants?
You'll never get anywhere treating your helmet like a lunchbox, son. What is that?
Cheetos.
Crunchy or puffed?
Puffed.
Wimp.
Sneaky fun game here. Fun game. Chargers can go to 4-0. really be in the mix with and the Chiefs have a tough matchup today. So that AFC West is up for grabs. 4-0 start, you're sitting real pretty. They got to get by a Giants team that doesn't have a win yet this year, but will be starting Jackson Dart for the first game of his NFL career. Chargers 6.5-point favorites.
Yeah, give me the Chargers to win this one. Dart, I think, will have an explosive play in this game. I think they have the receivers to get downfield. But I think a couple turnovers in the Chargers. The Chargers right now are just cooking, and I think the Chargers win this one. Not in a blowout, but I think they win it and give Dart a tough welcome to the NFL.
You know what? Give me the Giants. I think there's going to be some juice with Jackson Dart starting his first game. I'm always wary of the West Coast team coming east for 1 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah.
I don't know that Jackson Dart ultimately is like the guy that saves the New York Giants. Can he come out for one game and have a breakout party? Yeah, I think he has that ability. Give me the Giants in this one. Sneaky upset there. Game in the 1 o'clock window here in our final game in the 1 o'clock window. The Eagles and the Buccaneers.
This past offseason, some clown named Mike Lombardi told him that he was the least qualified head coach in the NFL.
Who was that? What was that about again?
That's Jason Kelsey at the Super Bowl parade.
That's right.
Not this last one, the one before, where he's dressed up like the wizard from the Wizard of Oz, or the gatekeeper from the Wizard of Oz.
This is a big game. 2 3-0 teams. They've met in the playoffs a couple times the last few years. Eagles 3.5-point favorites going down to Tampa, Cerrone.
Man, give me the Eagles. I think the Mike Evans injury is huge for Tampa. I mean, they're a little banged up. I think they get Godwin back this week. But I don't know how effective he's going to be against the Eagles defense. But give me the Eagles. I think they're just kind of rolling, and they're kind of the perfect team right about now. Give me Philly.
Without Evans, I wanted to pick the Bucs. I feel like it's a tough spot for Philly. You got to go down to Florida. We know how that goes with the Patriots and Dolphins. The Bucs have played the Eagles well the last few years, but Mike Evans is a big part of that. No Mike Evans. Give me the Birds. Let's go to the 4 o'clock window now. The Colts and the Rams. They're expecting points in Hollywood, 49.5-point total, highest of the week. Rams 3.5-point favorites against the unbeaten Colts.
Devontae Adams going to play. I think he might be out in this one, or he's banged up. But man, it's Daniel Jones, the front runner for MVP right about now. But I think the Rams get a W today. I just think they might be a better team than the Colts. I know everybody's waiting for the Colts to fall off. They're playing good football, but I think the Rams kind of edge them out. I give the advantage to the home team.
Devontae Adams is expected to play. Yeah, I'm with you. I said last week the Colts are going to fall off at some point. I forget who they played last week. It was somebody bad. So I said last week wasn't the week. This week might be the week. Give me the Rams in this one. Good game, but give me the Rams. How about the Jags and Niners?
Duval.
The 3-0 Niners, 3.5-point favorites against the 2-1 Jags. Brock Purdy back under center for Kyle Shanahan.
I think I'm going to take the Jags in this one. I think the Niners, they've had a couple games that they probably should have lost, but I think the Jags get the W in this one. I think they figure out a way to win this game. Brock Purdy banged up. I don't know what's going on with him and the quarterback situation there in San Fran, but give me the Jags and win this one.
I'm going to take the Jags because Mac Jones was rolling, and it would be very Niners to go back. And look, they have to go back to Brock Purdy, but
yeah,
it would be very Niners and very Mac Jones. For him to win 2 games, they go back to Brock Purdy and they lose, and suddenly does Mac Jones get to play the role of Bailey Zappi out there in San Francisco? That would be a little fun. Big AFC matchup has the Ravens taking on the Chiefs.
Oh, hell no. They go that horse. I don't mess with horses, bro. Might come over here and throw a tantrum.
Both these teams are 1-2, Cerrone. This is, I said earlier in the show, I don't want to call Patriots-Panthers a must-win for the Patriots. It's a big game, but it's not a must-win. This is the definition of a must-win. This game is going to have significant playoff seeding implications. You cannot fall to 1-3 if you are either of these teams with other teams in your division starting to take off. Who you got? Ravens 2.5-point favorites going into Kansas City.
Ravens in a blowout.
Wow.
I don't think this one. I think the Ravens blow these guys out. The Ravens are a better team than Kansas City is. They're better than Kansas City. And Kansas City, literally, watching them, they got the W against the Giants. But it was literally like watching, one of my sons play Madden. It was just all streaks, roll out, throw it down there. The Taekwondo throw it 40 times, and hopefully he catches one. It was just I mean, is Mahomes still their leading rusher? They can't run the ball. The receivers can't get open. That's against bad teams. I think this Ravens team blows them out and puts them in a crazy hole. Chiefs fall to 1-3. They just have all kinds of issues on that team right now.
Ravens in a very close one. Very close one. I'm not buying blowout, but I'll buy the Ravens. One more 4 o'clock game, 1-2 Bears and 1-2 Raiders.
We are the Bears, shuffling the crew, shuffling on down, doing it for you. We're so bad, we know we're good, blowing your mind like we knew we would.
It's basically a pick 'em Raiders half-point favorite at home.
Give me the Bears. I think the Bears are a little better than the Raiders right now. I mean, I want to see the Bears out on the road, but I think the Bears are better than the Raiders. So give me the Bears in a close one.
As far as road tests go, this one isn't tough, but I'm going to go with the Raiders. I don't know. Gut feeling, gut instinct. Ashton Genty has had some big games in that building, playing in the Mountain West. Give me the Raiders. Tonight, Micah Parsons back in Dallas. Packers, Cowboys.
Final Packer offensive lineman announced during pregame introductions was who?
Jerry Kramer.
No!
2-1 Packers, 1-2 Cowboys. Packers favored by 6.5.
Packers are a better team right now. They're the healthier team, I believe. No CD Lamb, I think, is huge for Dallas. It'd be a real bad look for Parsons and the Packers if they go out there and lose this game in Dallas. And if Dallas wins, we're never gonna hear the end of this. So I hope the Packers win this game and Parsons goes ahead and get his revenge. But if Cowboys win, they're going to be talking about them like they're the greatest team of all time for the next 3 weeks. So give me the Packers, and hopefully they beat Dallas in Dallas.
Here's your blowout. Packers. Big. Big. Packers by double digits at least. Monday night doubleheader. We'll get through these quick here because we're up against it. You excited for this one, Cerrone? The Jets and the Dolphins.
What does it mean to you now when the team is struggling?
I want to kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
Mike McDaniel somehow still has a job, even though his team is struggling. Dolphins, though, still 3.5-point favorites at home.
Dolphins lose this one. McDaniel's gone Tuesday morning. That's it. The Jets played the Buccaneers good last week. Crazy game. I think the Jets have kind of showed more promise, and believe it or not, but I think they should have beat the Steelers. They should have won that game last week. I think they get the Dolphins down in Miami. I think they've been in Florida. They went to Florida last week. They're back in it, so they're kind of used to it. I think the Jets win this one tomorrow. But I think it's going to be if I'm not mistaken, a major rain event in Florida tomorrow night. So that'd be a little iffy, but give me the Jets in that one.
Give me the Jets to at least cover in a sloppy, ugly game. But if that doesn't do it for you, if Jets-Dolphins doesn't do it for you, how about Bengals-Broncos?
They're going to kick it. They're going to kick it.
Kick what?
Kicking the field goal.
What?
Bengals with the backup quarterback and Jake Browning. Broncos with Bo Nix, who's playing like a backup quarterback right now. Still Denver, 7.5-point favorites.
Yeah, give me Denver. At least they kind of play defense. Give me the Broncos in this one. Give me the home team until the Bengals offense gets going, because that was ugly last week. Give me the Broncos to win it a tight one.
Give me the Bengals. Jake Browning throw around a little bit. Not a believer in where the Broncos are right now. Certainly not to cover 7.5. Certainly not. All right, that's your week 4. No buys. But again, you got 10 minutes. Set those fantasy lineups with the London game. We'll be back to talk Patriots Panthers next here on Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
More Sunday Kickoff is on the way on the Sports Hub.
if we go, I don't know what the first package is, but if you're asking me if Ramondre is on some sort of discipline, no. The discipline is we need our best players to play in a game and do their job and take care of the football, and we all have to do that. Drake had an interception and a fumble. We're not going to play Josh right now. We have to fix those things. The people around them have to be better, and I'm confident that we will. And if it continues to I'm not going to talk about the alternative. I'll go down that road later, but those are things that we have to get fixed, but we also have to do good things with the football and make people miss and make yards and catch it and block, when they blitz. So we're confident that those guys can do that.
Which some people threw out there this week. Look, just in terms of bodies, you need 3 backs. And I guess they could have, added Terrell Jennings off the practice squad for the short term, but not a long-term answer. How much do you think we see Ramondre Stevenson today? What does his role look like? And actually, before you answer, I'll just drop one thing in. Mm-hmm. I do not care whether or not Ramondre Stevenson starts the game. And
okay.
I've talked about this before. I think starting running back is relatively inconsequential. Now, what I don't want is last year, remember when Gerard Mayo said in a pregame interview that Ramondre was going to be benched and then he started? Yeah, be consistent, right? But you can start a game at running back and play 5 snaps.
Mm-hmm.
The whole concept, and Mike Vrabel talks about it there, about different packages. Now, some would argue that there is something ceremonial that comes with starting, and after the fumbles, does he deserve that ceremonial title or whatever? We could debate that.
Yeah.
If he's on the field the first snap of the game and then plays 5 snaps the whole game, I'm not going to sit here and be, he started. I care about the whole workload. I think his role needs to be cut, at least for the time being. I don't think you can eliminate it. And some of that is just the rest of their roster and where they're at talent-wise. The offense is stagnant when he's not on the field. I'd still use him as a pass blocker, find some low-stakes touches for him. But I think you need to see, honestly, I think you need to see more of Gibson. I'm not sure how much more you can see of Travion Henderson. He's second on the team with touches. He's averaging 10 a game. Not going to go up much from there. Yeah. He second on the team last week. I think he had 11. He's only averaging 4.5 yards a touch. I think you got to see more Gibson, more Henderson in this game, but I don't think Stevenson's out of the lineup entirely.
No, I don't think he is either. I mean, like you said, if he's out there, he gets to start, but he's not playing much as the game goes on. I think the message will be sent. We shorten his workload, but I think on the flip side, you have to look at the kind of what's best for the team. This is a game you got to win, and you're playing against a team that's giving up over 5 yards a carry on the ground. You're gonna have to run the football at some point in this game, and to be fair, Gibson fumbled the ball last week as well, and you don't have the talent of the pieces to just sit guys out. You're not good enough for that, but they'll send a message one way or the other. And I think if this team goes up 14-0 in the first quarter and a couple passing touchdowns by Drake May, it'll all be forgotten by then anyway. Nobody will care what happens. But I think it's you can send a tone, you can send a message without sending a crazy message. But I think he knows he has to be better with the football. And I think we're going to see more Gibson. Henderson, like you said, is already getting his touches. But I think Gibson will get a little more of the carries today. But I do think in short yardage situations, you're still going to need Stevenson to convert the first downs or get in the end zone or whatever, because you got to win this football game. So you got to punish him one way or the other. But I do think he's going to get his share of touches, but not as much as we would have seen if he fumbled that ball last week.
The bigger picture thing for me is Travion Henderson needs to get it going. Because then you can pick your spots more with Stevenson. He's supposed to be their explosive option. I don't know right now. It's tough to say exactly what it is. Is it his vision? Is he not seeing it right? Is it his patience where he is seeing it, but he's just, not being patient, I guess. He's just running.
He's flooring
into contact, right? And it's crazy because coming out of college and even in the preseason, this was one of his best traits, I thought, was it's not just that he is elite top-level speed, but knowing when to go to that top gear and when to gear it down and let blocks develop and let players get out in front of him. I've always thought he is a very good knack for that.
Yeah.
And we just haven't seen that through 3 games. Everything's running right into contact. He's got to just slow it down a little bit, almost like take a deep breath when he gets the football. He doesn't need to go full Le'Veon Bell with it. But I think there are some more opportunities there for him than he's maybe taken advantage of. If he just starts processing it a little bit better and the game slows down for him a little bit, and that can happen. Like, this isn't uncommon for a rookie, but it does, like, it's not just going to happen all of a sudden because you wake up one day. He's got to start seeing it better. That would be, to me, the best development that could happen for this offense. I want to get into some other offensive lineup changes as we wrap the show up here. One more full segment coming up here on the Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
More Sunday Kickoff coming up on the Sports Hub.
ones we've thrown to him, he's caught. And just keep building a role for him and get everybody some opportunities and let the quarterback throw to the guy that's open.
That was Mike Vrabel this week on rookie wide receiver Kyle Williams. It's Alex Barth, Cerrone Battle, Ryan Garvin behind the glass. And running back, not the only spot, Cerrone, where we might see a lineup change this week. Pop Douglas has been struggling. The wide receivers as a whole have been struggling. I've heard a ton. They need to get Diggs going more. And I don't disagree with the sentiment entirely, but Diggs has been their most productive wide receiver.
He leads the lead team in catches quietly.
Leads wide receiver. I think Henry has more catches than him, but he leads the wide receiver room in catches. Drake May right now is more comfortable throwing to running backs and tight ends. And look, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. We saw Brady go through phases like that, certainly at times phases that could last an entire season or more. But for this offense to hit its ceiling, you got to get the wide receivers involved. That's got to be part of it. And do you shake things up? I think Kyle Williams, getting him on the field more, and this isn't saying he's play 100% of the time. I think when they're in that heavy 12 personnel and they want to run the ball, Kayshon Boutte, Mac Hollins. Those guys are good blockers.
Yep,
they
big
give you
guys.
Size, good there. I don't know how much you're changing there. When you're throwing in 12, you are throwing more to the tight ends anyway. That's just the nature of it. When they go into that 11, and really a passing 11, when they're in 11 to run the ball, you keep Mac Hollins out there with Diggs and with Boutte, and that, again, he gives you that size you need in those situations. But third and long, right? Their 11 in those situations has basically been Boutte at the X, Stephon Diggs at the Z in the Edelman role, and then Pop Douglas is the true slot. What I'd like to see them do a little bit more is kick Diggs over to the slot where he's going to be in a more high-volume role. And I think him and May have shown good chemistry here to start the season, and that's important in that role. And then Kyle Williams at the Z. He's going to give you speed. He's going to give you an ability to stretch the field. He's going to give you an ability after the catch. And by the way, you get your top 70 wide receiver draft pick on the field, which this team needs to start developing wide receiver draft talent. So I'm interested to see if we see more of him this week. Vrabel kind of sounded encouraged by him. He's caught everything we've thrown his way, which he has. It's only 2 balls, but he's caught both his targets for 20 yards. I'd like to see Kyle Williams get a little more involved this week.
Yeah, and I don't want what happened to, and I feel this is major what happened with Jalen Polk last year. I thought he, not would say got in a doghouse, but I thought he lost his confidence more than his ability. And I thought once his confidence was shot, he never really got it back. And then, and just never was, was engaged like he was. And I don't want Kyle Williams to fall into the same thing, thinking he's picked relatively high. He was going to get at least some reps, and I didn't think he'd feel he'd be buried in this situation. He had no control of where he was drafted, but I want to see him still be a part of it and still be confident and feel like he's a part of this group. Now, he might be. You mentioned the early workouts with Drake May. He was one of the guys that came down to North Carolina with him and was involved in the workout. So he's probably feels a part of the group and part of the veteran guys. But I want to see him get on there, get his confidence up, and get all the young guys kind of going, because I think they're just so important to this team. The most explosive guys on this roster probably are the rookies, Henderson, Williams, and possibly after Chisholm when he gets his chance.
Yeah.
So you got to get these guys going one way or the other. And I think Kyle Williams can absolutely be the playmaker that this team needs when it comes to downfield targets and getting in the end zone.
We've talked about this being a developmental year, and I wrote that piece back at the beginning of the month, back at the beginning of the season that I'm going to probably reference back to all year. 6 rookies in starting roles. As many as 8 that are probably going to play, if not a starting role, a key role at some point this season. It's a developmental year. Is it going to be perfect with Kyle Williams out there every snap? No, probably not. There's probably going to be some bumps, but Pop Douglas, and that's been the case with Douglas, but Douglas had his chances. He's been in the league a little bit longer. See what you got in a kid. You got to, and you mentioned Polk last year with Baker as well. I think some of it, even if you want to go back to Tyquan Thornton, some of the problem to Patriots wide receiver development, and I don't think this is all of it. I don't even know if this is the biggest part of the issue, but I do think it's part of the issue. And this is true at any position outside of there's maybe some wiggle room at quarterback. You have to play on Sundays to get better. Yes, there is significant improvement you can make in practice. I do think you hit a point, though, where you got to get game action to really kind of see where you stand and know what to work on and improve. And some of those guys, I said, like Tyquan Thornton didn't play a lot early because of injury. He was hurt. Keyshawn Booty's another example. And he's come along now, but
it took him a while.
He didn't play really his rookie year, and then last year you didn't get a ton out of him until later in the year he started coming along. Yeah. Obviously, Polk and Baker didn't play a ton as rookies. You got to let these guys play and kind of go through the growing pains and the road bumps. That's how you develop receivers. So it doesn't have to be this week. I think we're just talking about it so much this week because you had that really major mistake from Pop Douglas at the end of that last game. Mm-hmm. But I think sooner rather than later, if not this week, within the next 2 or 3, you got to start getting Kyle Williams more involved in the game plan. Yeah, you do. And you touched on is so key is in-game action because we're in the NFL now where they don't even practice hard. They don't even wear pads in practice. So it's just you got walk-arounds all week. So how are you how are you going to get ready for game action if you're not a part of the rotation? It's a hard thing to do. And we keep comparing, how come our rookies can't be as good as some of the rookies we're seeing in the highlights and stuff like that? Yeah, the key is you're seeing them in highlights because they're on the field. They're actually getting burned. Brian Thomas last year in Jacksonville was getting targets. Malik Neighbors, Ladd McConkey, Rome Odunze. These guys were on the field from day one, getting all the key reps in action. And I think with the Patriots, like you said, over the last few years, 5 years or so, these guys really aren't on the field. And we're like, maybe he's having a good practice. Well, you can't see anything in practice because it's not like it was 20 years ago. So you got to get them on the field and get them burned somehow, some way. If that's in blowout wins or blowout losses, whatever, but you got to get these guys out on the field. John Gruden actually had a really great rant on the current state of practice this week. I don't know if you saw that. But no. It's exactly what you think would be Gruden ranting about how soft modern practices are compared to back in the day. One more lineup change we're going to see on offense. We talked about it a little earlier in the show, but I do just want to get into it a bit more here. Is no Jared Wilson. And this one we know is happening, right? Ramondre Stevenson, we're speculating. He'll probably play less. How much less? How will his role change? There's some speculation there. Again, with the wide receivers, we're speculating. Maybe they don't change anything. But Vrabel did kind of leave the door open for Kyle Williams to play a little bit more. Does he even get more snaps than Douglas? I'm not sure. But is it more than I think he's at 12% through the first 3 games. Does that number get closer to 20? Something like that, right? Exactly. Yeah. The offensive line, this one we know is happening. Jared Wilson out. He's not going to play this week. Got kind of rolled up in that game last week. Stayed in the game, so credit to him. Tough kid. But I'm not sure if it's related to that, but it is a leg injury that he's listed with. So dealing with something there. Was able to return to practice on Friday, so maybe not a long-term thing, but Ben Brown, we think, is going to step in at left guard. He'd make the most sense. He was competing for that job in the spring. Now it's him next to Will Campbell. Campbell's got a new body next to him. Garrett Bradbury, who's been very good, has been one of the surprises to start the season. Another guy that is now going to have to deal with a new player next to him. With Ben Brown, I think you probably see right now, I think Ben Brown and Jared Wilson, the talent level's relatively similar. Now, Wilson has more ceiling. He's younger. He's going to get better. I think you maybe gain a little bit in the pass blocking with Ben Brown, lose a little bit in the run blocking, but relatively comparable. How do you feel about Ben Brown? And then, of course, this injury comes as it's Derek Brown on the other side, who's quietly one of the best interior defenders in the league, a guy that doesn't get a lot of attention playing on bad teams, but a real test for this unit with a backup in there. Yeah, you're going to get pressure up the middle this time. It's he's going to be there. I think he was in the Pro Bowl. It was not last year before last in the middle. But again, he's one of those I mentioned early in the show. One of those lone guys that can just disrupt things for everybody. Yeah. So combination of Patriots offensive line in the middle, guards, center, Bradbury, and you mentioned earlier Ramondre Stevenson staying in the block. You're going to need a guy in there that can protect Drake May on some of these possessions because I think he is going to have his times when he gets through and he could be a game wrecker for you. So we'll see how they hold up against him and how they game plan it. But he can be a guy that if he's jumping a snap count or getting just getting through, he's going to draw holding calls. He's going to draw false starts. He's just going to be a disruptor. So he's one guy that they're going to have to really game plan for because he can mess things up this afternoon. I'll throw this out there, too. You mentioned the pressure and the pass rush, and that's obviously a part of it. He's against the run, and if they're going to try to really establish the run this week, you watch some of what he did against Atlanta last week. He's very athletic. He run you down. Size. He's making plays on the perimeter. he's just carrying blockers with him to the outside, and as a defensive tackle, is helping set the edge at 6'5", 320. So athleticism from the offensive line is big. That's where I think you probably miss Jared Wilson the most in this matchup, is he's a very athletic guy for his size as well.
Yeah.
And can go with that. Ben Brown, a little bit more of a mauler, but watch Derek Brown in the run game, and the Patriots have done a lot of this outside zone stuff as they try to get to the outside. Derek Brown's still going to be a factor out there. You don't think of that with many defensive tackles. Honestly, Milton Williams has been doing a bit of it this year, too. It's fun to watch these big guys kind of play this way. Derek Brown can take a guard and just ride him all the way to the outside and kind of cut off the edge. So that's going to be a fun matchup to watch. There's little history here, too. Derek Brown, Auburn, Ben Brown, Ole Miss. They played each other a couple times in college. Obviously, both very different players now, but that's going to be something else to watch in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be pretty, I'm going to say fascinating to watch, but you got to stay out of third and long. You can't be 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, false start. You're 3rd and 3, all of a sudden now you got a false start, delay a game or something. And now this juggernaut is allowed to just tee off on Drake May. You can't put yourself in those positions, because what ends up happening is you get so worried about him. Now the underwhelming defensive ends on Carolina, now they find themselves in one-on-one situations or, opportunities for them to get off and get going. Similar to, remember last week we talked about the Steelers. It was like they really don't, they got injuries. J.J. Watt really didn't get going. T.J. Watt didn't get going. They're not really getting after the quarterback. All of a sudden the Patriots put themselves in bad situations. Guess who got going? Watt got going. Every next thing you know, everybody was getting to Drake May. So you can't have those situations pop up again. You got to do what you got to do on the early downs and keep yourself out of 3rd and long, and don't give this Carolina defense a chance to make plays against Drake May.
That's, again, something to watch in the trenches. The trenches have been so big. And you mentioned it in there a couple times just as it relates to the line, the penalties. Mm-hmm. Just in general, we'll throw an obligatory cut the penalties down too. I don't think we've mentioned it on the show. That's obviously something that has to happen for the Patriots.
The veterans got to cut the penalties down. It's not even Campbell and Wilson. It's been the older guys on the offensive line, that's been the ones getting the penalties. So they really need to clean that up.
I got to pull up who we have this week. Every week I mean to check this before the game, and then I don't. But going into that Steelers game, I should have known. It was the crew that had called the most penalties in the league in that one. So they have Bill Vinovich today. His team this year, total flags, that's the NFL total. Great audio right here as we wrap up this segment. Great radio. Total flags, Bill Vinovich is 4th in the league. 21 flags per game. And that includes declined penalties.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty messy. A lot of laundry today.
Keep that in mind. 21 flags per game. Bill Vinovich's crew working Patriots, Panthers today. Factor that in, Cerrone, as you make your game pick. We'll do that next here on the Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff.
Stay tuned for more Sunday Kickoff on the Sports Hub.
Hey, I'm Kendra Middleton, and
NFL game starts with the kickoff. This is Sunday Kickoff with Alex Barth and Cerrone Battle on your home for Patriots football. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
All right, before we get to game picks here, Cerrone, I just want to close the loop on a take I just had. So I mentioned Bill Vinovich has had the has thrown the fourth most flags in the NFL this year, 21 per game. Last year, threw the fewest flags of any crew in the league, 12.8. So we need 2024 Bill Vinovich today. Bill Vinovich, if you're listening, throw it back to 2024. We miss you, buddy. Give us that version. All right, I just wanted to add that in there. But still a high rate this year. I think last week, Cleet Blakeman's crew was one of the lowest last year and then threw a lot of flags last week. So are getting a little
figuring things out too.
Figuring things out as they go. 21 is high. I mean, that number has to come down. You just hope this is the game that start to come back to the mean here. All right, let's do some game picks. Our own Patriots, Panthers. Who you got?
I think the Patriots win fairly big this week. I think not because they forced turnovers or whatever. I think with Gonzalez being back out there and the opponent they're dealing with the injuries, I see a lot of 3-and-outs by Carolina. It's a lot of short possessions. Patriots get the ball a lot. Not saying they light it up or look special, but I do think they find a way to get in the end zone probably 3 times and a couple field goals. So that's similar to the way they moved the ball against Miami, but close to it. I think they get close to 30 today. I'm going to give them 27-14 New England.
So everybody's kind of on the same page. You're 27-14. Matt Dolph was at 24-13 on the Patriots Hub podcast. I'm at 23-13. I think you see a little more conservative version of the offense. It's not here to stay, but I think coming off of 5 turnovers, banged up offensive line now, I think they maybe slow it down a little bit, a little less tempo, a little more conservative, but I do think they move the ball well within that. I think they can get away with playing that way today. I think the defense gives them a turnover in this game. So running clock in this one, not a lot of drives, not a lot of plays. It's going to feel like the offense did more than 23, but it's going to be 23. Like, they might only have 7 drives, but they score on, most of them.
Yeah, like the Miami game.
Right. Well, that kind of ran away late, but like the early version of the Miami game, I'd say, yeah. So I'm going to go 23-13 Patriots in this one. Yeah. So we're kind of in the same ballpark. We got a little more time here than we usually do for picks. Ryan, what do you got?
Ooh, I'm not as high on the Patriots yet as some other people are. I think this is going to be a slog of a football game. I think Carolina's super banged up right now. I think getting 30 points out of either team would be a wonderful luxury. I think the Patriots are going to eke out a win, and I don't think it's going to really ease the nervous feelings that some people have. I think you're going to have a lot of turnovers still. I think you're still going to have a lot of penalties too. I think this team is working through some stuff right now, just based on how awful the Panthers are historically, and also some the weird history between the Patriots and the Panthers. I'll give it to the Patriots because they just can't be worse than the Panthers, but if they score more than 17 points, 21 points, I'd be really impressed with the Pats.
So you're thinking 2017, that kind of game, 2014?
Something like that. It's a lot of field goals, penalties, and turnovers.
I saw one of the NFL Network people had 16-5 or something like that. Give me that. I want to watch that game.
Now. I like the scoregami stuff too. I hate picking scores. I got 3-2, a field goal to a safety.
give me a 16-5. Give me something weird today, like that Jets game a few years ago with Marcus Jones, and in the blueberries too. The blueberry jerseys are back. Blue pants today, all blue look.
Man, real quick, you talk about a game that could be low scoring like that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but that Miami Jets game Monday night. I know I'm getting all kinds of hurricane, tropical storm warnings or whatever, and I think Florida is going to get destroyed tomorrow.
You know what?
The downpouring rain in that game, with Justin Fields playing quarterback on one side, I could see a 7-3 game or something like that from that Miami game.
Too many turnovers, too many short fields.
Good point.
I think you're going to. I've done this before with some of the Iowa unders in college football. I'm like, Iowa won't score any points. They stink. And then their defense gets 4 interceptions. There's a ton of short fields, and it kills me. So that'll be one to watch. Obviously, Patriots, Panthers Day. Beautiful day here. No rain today. It's supposed to be 80 degrees. Sunny.
Summertime, baby.
Beautiful day. I worked a BC game yesterday, sidelines, which was an awesome experience. Beautiful day for football yesterday. Beautiful day for football day. If you're going to the game, enjoy it. If you're watching the game from home, maybe bring the TV out on the porch, something like that. Good day for that as well.
I think Bob and Zoe are going to have some fun today.
Bob and Zoe will have some fun today. It should be a good one. We're going to have Bob and Zoe at 1 o'clock, but it's Chris Gasper and Jim Murray coming up with Patriots pregame here just at the top of the hour before we go to them. I'll remind everybody, if you missed any of the show, you want to catch it each week after it's live. You can find it on the Sports Hub YouTube channel or Sports Hub Sunday Kickoff, wherever you get your podcasts. I'll be back tomorrow. 2 more episodes of the Patriots Hub podcast. We'll have our weekly breakdown with David Andrews, and me and Matt Dolph will give our big takeaways from the game. You can find that, again, Sports Hub YouTube channel or the Patriots Hub podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. And, of course, Matt and I will have plenty of coverage of this one on 98.5, thesportshub.com. And Ty Anderson actually is pitching in this week as well. Thanks to Ty for that. And what I know is a busy weekend gearing up for Bruins season. He has some stuff from the Bruins game last night as well. So, got to head down to Gillette, catch up with those guys, cover the game. Ryan Garvin, great job as always. Cerrone Battle, great job as always. We'll be back next week, 8 a.m., same time, same place. Talk to you then. Bye.
From the Tell Your Time Studios, WBZ and HD1. It's not just the games. It's Toucher and Hardy, Zolak and Bertrand, Felger and Maz, Joe Murray. For Boston sports fans, it's 98.
Or shop online at newengland.hondadealers.com.
The snap to May. Back 2 steps. Looks to the end zone. He pumps. Drake May eludes a defender. Running to his left. Looking to the end zone. Trying to keep the play alive. Falling down. He throws to the end zone. It's caught.
He's got it.
Touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson.
Oh my gosh,
Drake May.
The Patriots are brought to you by Safety Insurance, Catches Law,
Shaw's and Star Market, Oakers Technologies,
your New England Honda dealers, Credit Unions, Kids at Heart, Town Fair Tire, Clinton Savings Bank, Bud Light, Witches Woods, and by Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
Trips to the left. Tango by Loa. Unloads a deep ball down the left side.